look, a lot of the Jewish community is going to be very, very fearful right now. I think the past 2 years have seen some of the highest incidents of anti-Semitism.
4 people have been injured in a car and knife attack at a synagogue in Manchester. The suspect has been shot by police. The incident comes on Yom Kippur, which is the holiest day in the Jewish religious calendar. Here is the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham.
It is a serious incident, I have to say. It is in the area that you mentioned, and I would say to people listening, firstly, to avoid the area. Because it is a serious incident, but at the same time I can give some reassurance immediately to people that the immediate danger appears to be over, and Greater Manchester Police have dealt with it very quickly, and has been amazing support from, I think, members of the public and security at the location.
Well, the Prime Minister Keir Starmer will fly home early from an EU summit in Denmark to chair an emergency Cobra meeting. We've also heard from the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan.
At this time of year when Jewish people across the world are commemorating Yom Kippur, it's incredibly worrying. We've seen this awful attack on a synagogue in Manchester. I've been in contact with the Mayor of Manchester, Andy Burnham, with the Home Secretary and with the police. The Met Police Service will be stepping up high visibility policing in and around synagogues in London.
Well, that was Sadiq Khan saying that policing is to be stepped up at London synagogues. In a moment, we'll speak to the MP for the area where this attack happened, Graham Stringer. But first, let's speak to Lorin Bell-Cross, correspondent for the Jewish Chronicle. Lorin Bell, hello.
Hi, Hugo.
Thanks for being with us. Look, what's the latest you can tell us about this appalling incident? I'm sure you're learning a lot.
I mean, as you say, it's sort of a developing incident. I understand from the updates from Greater Manchester Police that they're treating a number of people for stab and vehicle wounds, and members of the public are being asked to avoid the area. The Community Security Trust, the CST, have also put out an update saying that they're working with police of the local Jewish community in Manchester. And, you know, just the severity of the incident, to give your listeners a illustration of, you know, this Yom Kippur, you'll hear a lot of this phrase, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. You know, this is the time of year for fasting and observation and prayer. So a lot of Jews who might not go to synagogue on a regular basis will make the time to do so on Yom Kippur. I mean, even sort of, I was kind of weighing up whether to go on the, you know, not that I'm particularly observant myself, but I was having this internal discussion of whether I should come on the show because, you know, as a correspondent for a Jewish newspaper, you know, is it appropriate to do so? But I think we made the decision that yes, it is, because of the huge severity of this incident, and you know, it really, really is appalling what's happened there. And I think, you know, we'll hopefully the police will release more details in the near future of what's happened and whether they've apprehended the suspect and a bit more information about that. But I think the fact that so many of the Prime Minister has gone back to chair a Cobra meeting, saying that more police resources are being deployed around synagogues, I think just shows really the severity of this incident and how, look, a lot of the Jewish community is going to be very, very fearful right now. I think the past 2 years have seen some of the highest incidents of anti-Semitism. Details from the Community Security Trust, as I mentioned earlier, they reported that 2023 there was a record high level of anti-Semitism. 2024 was significantly above, you know, not as high as that level, but still the second highest year on record of incidents of anti-Semitism. This incident was shocking, but sadly, and I do mean this very sadly, I don't think a huge amount of us are very surprised this has happened. I think a lot of us were very, very fearful that it was only a matter of time before an incident like this happened.
Absolutely. Look, Lorin, as you say, I mean, a lot of Jewish people will be in synagogue today, and many others, including those ones, they will not have their telephones on, they will not be listening to the radio, they will not be watching the TV for largely religious reasons. How will word about this be spreading nonetheless? Presumably most people in most synagogues will be becoming aware of this pretty much as we're speaking.
I suspect so. You know, we're a sort of small community in this country, but I think we're a close community, and the visibility of police presence will be, people will know that something is afoot, even if they're not exactly aware of what's going on. But I think there's a concept in Judaism called pikuach nefesh, where there's a sacrifice of, you're meant to do something according to the scripture, but there's a greater good that merits it. And I think a lot of people will hear what's going on and might turn on their phone secretly. I mean, this is why, your listeners might be casually aware of the rules of Jewish observance. But I think, this is why you'll not have a huge amounts of statements from Jewish communal leaders at the minute.
Yeah.
But, the fact that CST, who are this main security body for the Jewish community, they have put out a statement that's not insignificant of themselves. This is how severe this incident is. It's not just, any other thing that's happening. They deal with these incidents with any kind of incidents of anti-Semitism. But the fact that they have taken the time of day to put out a statement and put out an update, I think tells you the levels of concern within the Jewish community itself.
Lorin, look, finally, tell us a bit about how security has been stepped up at synagogues over the last couple of years. Because, I well remember, there's always been some degree of, security guards outside synagogues, even if it's just members of the community taking their turns to play that role. But things, since October the 7th, the whole security situation for synagogues has changed quite considerably. Am I right?
You are, but I think it's worth pausing and listening to your introduction to it. The fact that for so many of us, the fact that even before October the 7th, the guards on synagogues, the barbed wire fences around our schools, the fact that some schools have drills of what to do in case of a terrorist incident. This isn't us being a paranoid community. This is because the threats against us are very, very real. And this is a sad reality in Britain, multicultural, diverse Britain, in the 21st century, where a minority community has to have schools with fences and security guards around it because people, members of the public, ordinary people, who knows what, want to come around and murder those in it. As I mentioned, there's been incidents since October the 7th, there's been a spike in that. There's been record levels of that. And, we don't know as yet, the police haven't announced the motives of the perpetrator of this, and I wouldn't want to speculate on that. But I think the fact that there is this heightened level of anti-Semitism, as I said earlier, a lot of us were fearful that this kind of incident is a question of when, not if. And I think that's a sad reality that we have to reflect on today. I was yesterday, on Tuesday, chairing an event at the Labour Party conference, and we were discussing this, me and sort of several other Jewish communal leaders. And, there was a sense in the room of, we don't want to be so gloomy. Jewish life here is pretty good. We don't want to just constantly be talking about the negative things. But it's a sad reality that 2 days after that, we are, because someone is around trying to murder Jews.
Lorin Bell-Cross from the Jewish Chronicle, thank you very much indeed for being with us. I'm also joined by Graham Stringer. He's the Labour MP for the area, Blackley and Middleton South. Graham, hello.
Hi.
Thanks for being with us. What can you tell us about what you've been hearing from people in the area?
Well, I've had my first short briefing from the police. I would expect to get a fuller briefing later, who were saying that they got to the incident within 7 minutes and they're now securing the area. But I think, as you've been relating on your programme, the perpetrator has been shot dead, and a number of people have been injured, both by having a car driven into them and being attacked with a knife.
Yeah, and look, this is a day when large numbers of people attend synagogues and fast as well. It does seem likely that this was an attack designed to cause maximum fear.
Yes, I think that's right. I was listening to the interview before, and I think the Community Security Trust have estimated the number of attacks on Jewish people since the start of the Gaza war has increased by about 400%. And this synagogue is at the edge.
Yeah, sorry, I think we're maybe just losing Graham Stringer there. Just to let you know, we are hearing from Manchester that it is now being reported that one person has died and another person is in a critical condition after that attack. We will tell you more about that as we learn about it here on Times Radio. Look, Jeremy Griffin, the Times' executive editor, is here. He's going to be delving into some of the best of the Times that you might have missed. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Hugo.
Thanks for being with us. So, look, there's live coverage of this attack in Manchester on the Times website right now, of course.
Yeah, and it's the most clicked on story over the past hour and a half, as you might imagine. We've been reporting updates by the minute. As you know, we think now one person has been killed, several people injured as a result of this car and knife attack. The suspect was shot, we believe shot dead by police as he attempted to enter the synagogue in Crumpsall happened on Yom Kippur, as you've been discussing, the holiest day in the Jewish religious calendar. As a result, the Prime Minister's decided to return to the UK from that high-profile summit in Copenhagen. As I say, Hugo, we're covering the story in the live file. That means we update it every few moments, if not sooner, with the latest developments. It has been designated a suspected terrorist attack by Greater Manchester Police. A bomb disposal unit is at the Heightened Park synagogue, amid fears that the attacker was carrying explosives, and we have video that shows 2 armed officers pointing guns at a man lying on the ground outside the synagogue. Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, we've spoken to him. He said that extra security at the synagogue prevented more widespread injuries. You've obviously been discussing security issues around synagogues in the last few moments. But it has led to understandable alarm among the Jewish community. So one man we spoke to who witnessed the attack said there's no safe place for Jews in Britain anymore. It's over. We'll bring you all the very latest as details emerge with pictures and video at thetimes.com and on the Live app.
Thank you, Jeremy. Let me just put you on pause for just a moment, because I think we've got Graham Stringer, the Labour MP for Blackley and Middleton South, back again. Graham, I think you're back with us.
Yes, I think so.
Yes, thank you. Because look, as I just said, we are hearing that one person has died as a result of that attack, another is in a critical condition. This is quite an impact on your area.
It is. I know the synagogue really well. I used to live around the corner from it. I've been to services there, I've done hustings there, just know many of the congregation by first names. It's appalling. And basically that synagogue and the other synagogues in the area go out of their way to improve relationships with the Muslim community, and that's reciprocated. It is just that there are a small number of extreme people who want to destroy those good relationships, and as well as killing people and damaging as well as killing people, the purpose of this attack is to damage those relationships. And in Manchester, because sadly, we have had the bomb in 2017 and other attacks. We will not allow those relationships to be destroyed.
Graham, we're now hearing that there are in fact 2 people dead after this attack. What's your reaction to that?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, it's just terrible. I think the first person who died was the perpetrator, but it must be the second person is either the security guard or a member of the synagogue's congregation, and that is truly dreadful. People get up in the morning, having fasted, and they go to celebrate the most holy day in the Jewish calendar, and this happens. It's devastating both to the Jewish community and those of us in Manchester who care about harmony between the different communities.
Indeed. Look, thank you very much indeed. That is Graham Stringer there, the Labour MP for Blackley and Middleton South, which is the area in which this attack in Greater Manchester has happened.